I imagine one of the first questions people are going to ask is, well, is the Pope coming? And the answer is, we don't know yet. Um, the Pope Benedict XVI has told Cardinal Ouellet that he will give his answer before the end of December. So we'll know, it's a question of a few weeks now by the time that answer will be given to us. Obviously, it would be a great gift for the Pope to be with us for the closing Mass of the Eucharistic Congress. But whether he comes or not changes nothing to what Eucharistic Congress is about, an international Eucharistic Congress. International Eucharistic Congresses started, the history starts about, well, with the establishment of the sanctuary of Montmartre in Paris. I don't know if you know this sanctuary, but it was established in Paris as a center of Eucharistic adoration at the end of the 19th century. There was a great renewal of Eucharistic devotion and Eucharistic adoration, and that fit in very much with, at the turn of the century, Pope Pius X, who really wanted to renew the sense of the Eucharist as the central worship and the central sacrament in the life of Catholics. People went to Mass, but they went to Mass very passively, and it was often something that was seen as being done by the priest at the front, and people basically did their own personal devotions during that time. And a lot of people went to Mass without receiving communion. They'd go to communion once a year, during the Easter season because the rules said you had to once a year. And Pope Pius X wanted to change that. It's one of the reasons he decided to allow First Communion before confirmation, because in Europe in those days, confirmation was done quite late. In places like Spain, you weren't confirmed until you were ready to get married. And since communion had always followed the sacrament of confirmation, then people wouldn't receive communion until they were adults. And so, in order to encourage more frequent communion, Pius X decided to break a 1900-year rule in the church that communion always followed confirmation, and he allowed, as an exception, that First Communion be given before confirmation. That's a whole other story. But the point that he was trying to do was to encourage true involvement in the Eucharist in the lives of the lay faithful. And so all of that, the foundation of Montmartre in Paris, Saint Julien Aymar, and his whole Eucharistic spirituality kind of led into that, and a number of different movements were established around the world, so that slowly there started to be an impetus for people to come together and to reflect on the Eucharist and on its meaning in our lives. And over the centuries, over the decades, Rome started getting involved. This started at first as a local event, and then they started invited people from other places, always in Europe. But at one point, Rome started getting involved, and ultimately there was a central coordinating body that was established in Rome for international Eucharistic congresses. And so if you go on the website of the Vatican, you will find in the curial offices, you will find the office that is dedicated to World International Eucharistic Congresses, and you'll see their mandate there. And basically, the format that Eucharistic Congresses has taken now throughout for the past 50 years is a week-long, I call it a retreat. It's a retreat on the Eucharist for anybody who comes. It's a retreat on the Eucharist. We're hoping to have 15,000 participants. 15, 15000, 15,000 participants. So it's a retreat with 14,999 other people. all of them gathered in Quebec City. The main activities will be in the arena there, where the old the Nordiques jouaient. Poor people, but anyway. The Colisée de Québec will be the place where the activities will be held. And what goes on? Well, basically, the format is this. In the morning, everybody gathers in the Colisée for morning prayer, followed by a teaching on the Eucharist, a catechesis, which will be given by a bishop or a cardinal. I'll give you the list. I have it here. On the Monday morning, Archbishop Donald Wuerl, the Archbishop of Washington, who's renowned for his teaching abilities. He's a wonderful man. I was at the Eucharistic Synod with him. He's a great guy. So he'll be giving the talk on the Monday morning. On Tuesday morning will be Cardinal Philippe Barbarin of Lyon, who is the primate of the church in France. On the Wednesday morning, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the Cardinal of Buenos Aires in Argentina, will be giving the teaching. On Thursday morning, it will be Bishop Antonio Tagle of the Philippines, who's a great guy. I met him also at the Synod on the Eucharist. He was right behind me. So I'm a bit older in ordination than him because we all sat in orders, right? So the older you were, the closer you got to sit to the Pope. So I was just ahead of him, in the row ahead of him. Obviously, that's... If you're an archbishop, you get closer, and then if you're a cardinal, you get even closer. They get the first rows. But Bishop Tagle is a wonderful man. And then on the Friday morning, Cardinal Ivan Diaz, who's the prefect for the Congregation for the Evangelizations of Peoples, who's from India. So those will be and the Saturday morning, will be Cardinal Christian Toumi, who's the Archbishop of Douala in Cameroon. So you see, you have an archbishop from North America, South America, from Europe, from Asia, and from Africa. They will be giving the main teachings in the morning. And after the main teachings, there will be witnesses, testimonies that will be given. So for example, Monday morning, after Bishop Wuerl's teaching, there will be a time for singing and to go to the boys' room if you need to, or the little girls' room. And after that, Jean Vanier will be giving a talk on the Eucharist in his life, you see. And then the other speakers are people that whose names we don't know, but except maybe some of you know from Mexico, Jose Prado Flores, who's very known for his work in evangelization. So all these people who in their own countries are very well-known figures, will speak about how the Eucharist has touched them and nourished them in their lives. And then the morning will finish with a celebration of the Eucharist. The Congress will be celebrated in 3 languages, 3 official languages, French, English, and Spanish. So there will be simultaneous translation in the mornings for all those participants, for the 15,000 participants to be able to follow in those languages. I was going to say there's one morning where we will not have a testimony after the teaching. On the Wednesday morning, after the teaching by Cardinal Bergoglio, we will go right into the celebration of the Eucharist because we're going to be celebrating the Eucharist according to the Ukrainian rite, which takes about 2 hours. So instead of having testimony, we're going to go into the Ukrainian rite. And I've been talking with the Ukrainian Metropolitan of Canada, Archbishop Lawrence Hukulak of Winnipeg, who's just a great guy. And so they're working on that, and there'll be English and there'll be Ukrainian, but it'll give us a chance to experience the Eucharist as it is celebrated in the Eastern churches, and that will be a great gift for us. So those are the mornings. In the afternoons, there will be different things going on. There's going to be the first 3 afternoons, the first 2 afternoons, Monday and Tuesday, there will be workshops organized. There will be different types of workshops. Some workshops will be focusing on issues of how do we live the Eucharist out in our mission in the world. Other workshops will be focusing as how do we celebrate the Eucharist correctly and deeply and meaningfully. And there will be other workshops, a few workshops, 1,000 of the 15,000 participants, 1,000 will be designated to prepare, how could you say, recommendations. over the course of the week, they're going to be listening to this, to the talks and everything. And the idea is that at the end of the week, they're going to come with suggestions, recommendations, propositions for the 15,000 delegates and to be brought back to Rome. So those are going to be the activities in the afternoons. Monday and Tuesday will be focused around that. And Wednesday. On Thursday, it'll be Thursday afternoon will be around reconciliation. There will be a celebration of reconciliation prepared and a chance to celebrate reconciliation with the priests who are there. And that day, Mass will not be celebrated in the morning. Instead, Mass will be celebrated at the end of the afternoon. And from the Colosseum will start a Eucharistic procession through the streets of Quebec City with all the participants. And then Friday afternoon, Wednesday, I've skipped Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, at the end of the afternoon, all the participants are going to be dispersed to the parishes of the city of Quebec. And they will be going into the parishes, and each parish is organizing a celebration, a friendship celebration. So supper with music and with dialogue, and depending on what the parishes do, each parish will be creative. So it's going to be an occasion for all the participants to get to know the Diocese of Quebec in a very meaningful way. On Friday evening, a very, very special moment, there's going to be celebration of ordinations. So those who are to be ordained to the priesthood for the Diocese of Quebec, and there are a few others. I think right now there are 5 or 6 candidates who will be ordained, and there might be others. So we're going to celebrate ordinations to the priesthood to show the link between the priesthood and the Eucharist at the heart of the Church's life and mission. On the Saturday in the evening, there's going to be a prayer vigil that will be led by the youth delegates. Now, when we say youth, this is always the problem. In the Catholic Church, because of its Latin tradition, we translate youth, we take youth from the Latin word juventus. And juventus comes after adolescens, which is adolescence. For us in English, youth and adolescence is the same thing, right? But not in Latin. In Latin, you're an infans when you are born, and you remain an infans until you're 7 or 10 years old, and then you become an adolescens, an adolescent, and you stay that until you're 18. And then you become a juventus, a youth, 18 to 35. That's Juventus, okay? So that is and it's really that minimum age for participation at the Eucharistic Congress will be 18 years old, all right? But those who are 18 to 35, there will be a special stream for them, and on the Saturday evening, they will be leading the prayer vigil. And on the Sunday morning, we will finish with the Mass that's called Statio Urbis, which means the stop or the standing of the whole world. It's kind of meant to be the whole world will be focused in a way on this celebration of the Eucharist, which will be in the Plains of Abraham on the 22nd of June. I don't have to remind you that the 24th of June is the feast of Saint Jean-Baptiste. So, I mean, that's going to be the focal point of the celebrations of the 400th anniversary of Quebec City. And Quebec City has agreed that we can use all the stage that's going to be already set up for the Feast of Saint Jean-Baptiste for the final Mass. And obviously, if the Pope does decide to come, we imagine there will be a lot of people coming just for that final Mass. So that gives you an idea of, and I forgot to say that on the Sunday afternoon, the 15th, the opening of the whole thing, will start with a celebration of the Eucharist in the Colosseum. So the Colosseum is where most of the activities will be going on, but around the Colosseum, the whole kind of grounds, that's kind of an expo grounds. It's a bit like Ottawa, you know, where they hold the Central X, or Toronto where they hold the CNE. You have the the Colosseum. But the Colosseum is within a whole complex, and the whole complex is being reserved for the whole week for the Eucharistic Congress. So it's becoming, we're calling it the Eucharistic City for the duration of the 7 days. And there are going to be all sorts of activities going on in the Eucharistic City, in the various pavilions, workshops. There's going to be place for prayers. There's going to be place priests available for reconciliation, a bit like at World Youth Day. There will be booths that are organized, kiosks, meals, lunch will be served there. It's part of the cost. Those who will be signing up and coming for the week will have their meals served there. So the whole area of the Eucharistic City is going to be open to the public. Not everybody, only the 15,000 participants can be in the Colosseum for the main activities, but anybody can come for the rest of the activities around there. And on top of that, afternoons and evenings all around the city of Quebec, there's going to be a kind of a festival, a Eucharistic festival going on with plays and concerts and exhibitions and pilgrimages organized to Sainte-Anne-de-Beaupré, for example. So there's going to be, for people who live in Quebec, for tourists who are coming by, for people who want to come for 2 or 3 days, and you know, you can't sign up for 1 day at a time. You sign up for the whole Congress, but they want to be kind of in the spirit of it. They can come and they can, so they have access to the Eucharistic City, and they'll be able to participate in that Eucharistic festival which will be going on. And eventually, within a few months, we'll be putting out the catalog of activities that'll make up this Eucharistic festival that'll be simultaneously held with the Eucharistic Congress. A lot of couples have called us and they say, we'd like to go as a family, we'd like to bring our children, but we can't go for the whole week. What about the weekend? So the committee is now organizing a special program for families who want to come with their children on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. So there will be a special catechesis and talk given for families with their children on the Saturday morning. And on the Friday night, they'll be able to participate in the great activities that are there with the festivals going on. And they'll have access with reserved seating to the final Mass. So for families who would like to come for the Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, that's a possibility also, okay? And there will be a minimal registration fee. Those who want to come for the whole week, who want to sign up for the Eucharistic Congress as a whole, can do so now. You go on the website of the Eucharistic Congress, and you go to registration, and you can register immediately. And right now there's a special fee. If you register before the 1st of January, it's $200 to register for the Eucharistic Congress. So when you register, what do you get? You get obviously access to the Colosseum for all the main activities, the Eucharistic Congress. You get special front row seating for the closing Mass, which is important, particularly if the Pope is there. You get lunch thrown in every day. You get access to public transportation, so that you can leave your car wherever your car is, or if you come in by train or by bus, whatever, wherever you're staying, you get a pass for the public transit system in Quebec City that's good for a week, so you can travel on the public transit system all week, and they'll be adding buses to get to the Eucharistic City during all that time. So this is the package that you get for that $200, $230 after the 1st of January. Where will people be staying? Well, you have a choice. People can stay in hotels, but you'd better book quickly because they're going quickly. But our diocese has rented a block of hotel rooms And after we take our little break in a few minutes, I'm going to let Romeo and Ghislaine Lefebvre are our diocesan coordinators, so I'll give Romeo a chance to answer any technical questions or concrete questions you might have. But we've reserved a block of rooms so that those from Alexandria, Cornwall who want to stay together can rent their rooms there. If you don't want to spend money on a hotel, you can spend less money and stay in the residences at Laval University. So the residences are being made available. You can also stay for free in families. There will be host families who will be taking in pilgrims who come for the week, and so you can stay in a home. What they're going to be doing, say, is, for example, say you stay in Cap Rouge, which is outside of the city. There will be shuttles going from Cap Rouge regularly to the public transportation system of the city of Quebec, and then your pass allows you to get there. So you can travel back and forth and you don't have to drive or anything. So those are the formats for places to live while you're there. The Eucharistic Congress has as its theme the gift of God for the life of the world. The Eucharist, the gift of God for the life of the world. When Champlain came across, Champlain founded Quebec City in 1608. When he came across, the name of his boat was Don de Dieu, the gift of God. That was the name of his boat. And so the cardinal said, what better way to kind of connect the 400th anniversary of the foundation of the city with the Congress, because the most excellent gift of God is Jesus Christ, who gave himself on the cross for our lives, and that gift of himself on this cross is made present to us every time we celebrate the Eucharist. So the Eucharist really is a gift of God, but at the same time it's not just for Quebec City, it's for the whole world. It's a gift that is meant for the world, and the Congress then is really open to the whole world. And we hope that it's going to be truly a celebration that will bring the whole world together. What I'd like to do is pass out this little sheet that gives you the words of the theme song of the Eucharistic Congress. So, Don, would you launch that? It's the third song on the CD. It's the third song on the CD, and this song, the original words were written by Robert Lebel, and the music was written by a young organist who's in the diocese, I believe, of Saint-Hyacinthe. And well, let's just listen to it and sing along as you start getting to know the tune. The third track.
For your gift is bread and wine. Bishop Paul-Andre a few years back to be your representative for the International Eucharistic Congress, and we've accepted that gladly. And yes, we've been working as much as we can with delegates from each parishes because we need people to help us out to promote the Eucharistic Congress. And it's really approaching quite fast. That's why we have asked each parish to send their delegates here tonight so that at least we can have a small meeting just after this one, because we have a few things to pass out. We've got a CD for the presentation of the whole program for the Congress. So if you need any information, it'd be a lot easier for you to answer back to any of your parishioners. And we also have lapel pins that we just got from the Congress for sales. They're $2 a piece. And this is to help out the organization to be able to see some of these expenses. Like Monsignor Paul-Andre was saying earlier, as long as it doesn't cost us too much. But yes, we have to find ways and means of collecting a little bit of money to be able to support this Congress. We are really right now looking for more people to register. At the present time, we have only 8 people from our diocese that have registered. And I would like you to take time, if you really want to, spare 1 week of your life and this unique experience. Because the last Eucharistic Congress that took place in Canada was in 1910. And I believe none of us were born then. So, and the next time around, we'll probably not be around anymore. So if you would like to live this unique experience, to be with a group of people that wants to share their faith in the Eucharist, this is the time to do it. Some people are saying, well, it's quite expensive. A lot of people in this nice town of Cornwall are going to Cuba, Mexico, Florida every year for a couple of weeks. I'm sure if you want to spend a little bit of money for 1 week in Quebec City, it'll be as gorgeous as Mexico in wintertime. And it's not going to be that expensive after all. So please take a few minutes to think about it. If you have any question, I'll be more than glad to answer about it. And yes, there is something in preparation for the weekend. Monsignor Paul-Andre was talking about that because the committee is organizing something for the weekend of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the last weekend of the Eucharistic Congress, because a lot of people have asked questions about that. And we have someone in the diocese that would like to organize a bus tour to go there for that weekend. Her name is Marielle Provo. Her phone number is 987-2326. And there's a toll-free number, 1-800-556-9370. And of course, she needs to have a group of people to be, sure that she's not trying to organize this bus just for 10 or 15 people. There's got to be more than that to fill up a bus. But since a lot of people were asking for a weekend stay because they cannot all afford to be there the whole week, at least someone in the diocese is trying to organize a bus for that long weekend. Yes. Sorry? Yes. Yeah. So 987-2326. Okay. Yeah, after the Christmas time, she will be sending out some advertisement in the parish's bulletin so that people will have these information. Yes. It'll be mainly for families. That's why the committee is trying to organize a weekend options for families, because yes, a lot of people were asking, well, we have young children, we would like to attend, we can't be there the whole week without bringing our children with us. And like Bishop was saying earlier, to register for the Congress, we have to be 18. So if people have younger children that they want to bring with them for few days, I think this would be really appropriate to have them on the last weekend of the Eucharistic Congress. No. It's not just necessarily for families, but if you have the chance to bring your family with you, or on a bus, if you don't want to drive down to Quebec City, it would be an easy way to do it. But no. Yes, that's what she told us. She's already contacted a few hotels in Quebec to make sure that she would have some room there for a group of people. Yes, François. I haven't organized that. It was not in our mandate to organize a bus for that. What we've been telling people is to try to organize themselves if they want to carpool, things like that. We already have people from Alexandria that have said that they would be traveling together. There's 4 of them. They'll be traveling with somebody else. That leaves they're just going down with 1 vehicle instead of 2 or 3 vehicles. And the Congress, the committee for the Congress, has organized the whole week with passes for the transports at Quebec City transport, so that we don't have to use our cars. So at least they're thinking about the environment, the ecology. this is part of the team also for the Congress. Yes. In our case, I don't know what the price will be, but I know that the hotel that we have blocked, okay, we have blocked 40 rooms for our diocese. 20 of those rooms are with one king-size bed, and 20 of those rooms are with 2 queen-size beds. So if you take a room with 2 large beds in there, maybe you can share the fee of the hotel. And the hotel that we have is l'Auberge des Gouverneurs, Hôtel des Gouverneurs in Sainte-Foy, Quebec. I can give you the number, a toll-free number. It's Hôtel Gouverneur, Quebec. And the phone number, it's a toll-free number, it's 1-866-651-3030. And when you call there to reserve a room, you have to mention that you're with the Alexandria Cornwall Diocese. So this way they'll group us all together. That's why we have blocked some rooms there, because we had asked questions before. People would have liked to be together, because yes, in the evening we probably would like to share a few of the good moments of the day. So people wanted to be together. So that's why we blocked some rooms in the same hotel. And I know people will say it's expensive. It's $179 a night. But if you check on the internet, try to find rooms in Quebec City for that period of time at a lesser price than that, you'll be lucky. Because everything is almost booked solid. That's why we had to block a certain number of rooms, and we have until May 2nd. After that, they're going to rent those rooms. Okay, that's the limit that we have. Yes. Yes. L'Université Laval, yeah, it's about 5 kilometers. But again, you could be using the bus's pass, so you can just commute with the. You would have to go on the website, and they give you all those information on the website. Yes, go.
What intellectual level should people be? Is it going to be very intellectual conferences, catechesis, or available for just about anybody? Or?
The experience I had when we were down in Quebec City last May, the people that were doing the presentation and the catechesis, it was really down to our level, that we can really understand what they're saying. It's down to hurt. You know, it's not something that you have to be theologian to understand what's saying. No. No, it's really to our level so that we can really live it and be in there.
I'd just like to thank Romeo and Ghislaine for all the work that they've been doing in coordinating our diocesan participation, and that work is going to get more and more involved as the time goes forward. So Romeo, Ghislaine, merci beaucoup pour votre travail de coordination. And any other questions you have, technical questions, feel free to approach them. I'd just like to pick up on Claude's question. Before the Eucharistic Congress starts on the 15th of June, for 4 days beforehand, there's going to be a theological forum that's hosted by the Faculty of Theology of the L'Université de Laval. So that will be drawing in theologians from across the world for those days of theological reflection on the Eucharist. So the more high-flying philosophical and theological language will be there. The Eucharistic Congress itself is meant for the person in the pew, you could say, to really deepen the understanding of the Eucharist. So it'll be at that level. Yeah. Claude.
I see evangelists preaching on television, and the people listening to them often. Well, some evangelists, not all of them, but one in particular, he asked people, not all of them, but some people are taking notes. And like we go, whether it's school or university, in order to remember what was being taught, people normally remember taking notes. Now, I've been saying this to Father Lucier, if we have a hard time to grow in our faith, including myself, when we're at Mass, for example, could it be that we're listening, but are we really retaining what is being taught? Now, if we go to the Congress, wouldn't it be a good idea to suggest to people that in order to remember what is being going to be taught, and then also to make good suggestions afterwards, to
take a few notes. Yeah. Yeah. If and you make me think of something else. The Eucharistic Congress, there's a whole media aspect to the Eucharistic Congress. And one of the things that the media team will be doing will be at the end of every day, the DVD of the main talks of that day are going to be made available. So participants can buy a copy of the talks that have been given during the day. That'll be available every day. On top of that, those talks, the catechesis and the witnessing and the Mass will be on the internet, a live feed on the internet. So that people who can't go to the International Eucharistic Congress but would like to take in the talk can sit at home, turn their computer on, go on the website of the Eucharistic Congress and listen to the talks live. So this is the first time that a Eucharistic Congress is going to be made available this way, and obviously with the web, that's throughout the world. So this is really an incredible how can I say, challenge that the Eucharistic Congress of Quebec City is taking up to really place it on the web to make it available. It will also be on EWTN. It's going to be broadcast on EWTN and on Salt and Light here in Canada. And it will be broadcast by the major Catholic distributor in South America. So it really will be a huge event in that way. Yeah.
You're saying that the plenary sessions will be on the web?
Yes, the sessions will be on the web, yeah. Yes.
What's the follow-up of the Eucharistic Congress internationally?
What's the follow-up to the International Eucharistic Congress? Internationally and locally. You could say internationally, it's what it is, it's a bit like a world fair. So that what happens is when people come together, the networking that is done there, people go back home enriched by that, and they become, how can you say, sources of inspiration for the people back home where they live their faith. So at that first level, there's that impact. And it's a bit like World Youth Day. Same thing with World Youth Day. The young people who live World Youth Day, when they go back home, they bring a new flame, a new energy to their communities back home. That's one of the fallouts. The second fallout is every Eucharistic Congress allows a chance for an aspect of the Eucharist to be deepened and understood at the international level. And so that feeds into what's going on in the world in terms of reflecting on the Eucharist, in terms of, it's a bit like the Eucharist, the Synod on the Eucharist that we had. The ideas that come up, they help people, the theologians, the specialists, to keep on working on that, to say, we need to think about this, we need to develop that. One of the aspects, I think, that is going to be interesting out of this Eucharistic Congress is the connections between living the Eucharist and social justice in the midst of the world. There will be a concrete social justice project that will be launched out of the Eucharistic Congress. We're not announcing it yet. Cardinal Ouellet is going to announce it at a special moment, but he's holding back on that. So I think that's going to be a connection. At the local level, I think for the Canadian Church, I think it's going to be a moment, how can I say, that is going to bring the Eucharist to the center of public reflection and imagination in a way that it hasn't been in a long time. At least I'm hoping so. I know that's Cardinal Ouellet's great hope. That people are going to be able to celebrate their faith joyfully and with pride. And obviously, nobody, you have to recognize the fact that the church is going through a really difficult time in the province of Quebec. And hopefully this will be an occasion for a new launching, you could say, of evangelization in that province. So those are some of the fallouts that we're hoping for it. So if you go on our diocesan website, which is alexandria-cornwall.ca, and you go on to our website there, you find links, and this talk and other talks you can download them and listen to them. Anyway, I hope that gives you an idea of what the Eucharistic Congress is about. And I would encourage you to speak to other people too. Whether you're thinking of going or not, I think it would be worthwhile to encourage others to think about going. I think it's a great gift to give oneself. And like I was talking with Gordy, and Gordy was saying, a whole week, I'm going to be tired. I said, well, you go to the talks in the morning, in the afternoon you sleep, and then you go up and you go in the evening, you go to a concert or something. It's once you've signed up, you don't have to go to every single activity that's going on. Nobody's going to be, checking on your presence, but you give yourself the chance to really live a deep experience for a week. I think it's a true gift. Shall we stand for a final prayer? And I'm going to read the prayer for the Eucharistic Congress. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God our Father, we bless you and give you thanks for your Son Jesus, the gift of your love for the life of the world. Watch over your church as it celebrates in joy and hope the 49th International Eucharistic Congress. Renew our faith in the Holy Eucharist, the memorial of your Son's death and resurrection. And may your Holy Spirit shed light upon us and grant us strength to serve as faithful witnesses to the gospel. Nourish us with your word and your bread of life, so that united with Mary, mother of your divine Son and mother of the Church, we will bear much fruit for the salvation of the world. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And I said we were over, but just have a seat for 30 seconds. I just want to tell you that how is our diocese preparing for the International Eucharistic Congress? In the Lent, during the Lenten season, now that our 2 years of Parish Alive is coming to a close, our diocesan team is preparing a 6-week program for small groups sharing around the Eucharist. So using the theme of the Eucharist, there will be a 6-week process offered for anybody who wants to be in a small group to share their faith around the Eucharist. So that's going to be one thing. And the other thing is, I see Cheryl, right? Cheryl who's here. We had a meeting the other night. The committee for the chapel is thinking of organizing a special celebration because it's the 10th anniversary of the chapel this year. That for the feast of Corpus Christi, for the feast of the body and blood of Christ, the last Sunday of May, we're going to try to hold an outdoor mass with a Eucharistic procession. So we'll let you know about that, but that would be our big celebration here, and that'll lead us into the celebration of the Eucharistic Congress in Quebec City. All right? Thank you all very much. It's been a pleasure. And I think the parish reps have to stay here to meet with Romeo and Ghislaine. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.